The Warriors' death lineup over the years and what makes it so deadly. Let's play full court, baby! Your go-to channel for the most interesting basketball topics. The NBA has evolved significantly over the years. The way teams play offense and defense has evolved over time. The game that was once played under and around the basket is now played 30 feet away from the basket. Another significant change in the game's play is the introduction of the concept of positionless basketball, in which traditional position assignments and roles are less important. Something which was considered to be indicative of this as a larger overall trend in the NBA is, of course, the death lineup. From 2014 to 2019, the Golden State Warriors' death lineup was a lineup of smaller basketball players. It began during their 2014-15 run to an NBA championship under head coach Steve Kerr. Unlike most small ball units, the Warriors squad was versatile enough to defend larger opponents while also attempting to create mismatches on offense through their shooting and playmaking abilities. So what made the death lineup so special? Here is the short answer. 2 top-tier snipers, Steph and Clay, 3 versatile hybrid players, Harrison Barnes, Draymond Green, and Andre Iguodala, and 4 out of 5 of those players are above-average defenders. Steph, while not the most physically gifted defender, is a very effective and willing defender, and he has improved a lot over the years. With Draymond and Nicodella, they had 2 insanely clever NBA defenders who could sniff out any NBA offense and exploit its flaws, forcing opponents to abandon their main sets and go to the second or third option, or simply compel an unlikely participant to make a decision on their own. That defense often caused a lot of mistakes, which then freed up Steph and Clay to run down and swiftly shoot threes. Alternatively, if the defense was able to close them down at the three-point line in time, they could generally pass the ball to Harrison, Draymond, or Iggy for an easy score. On the defensive side, 2 things are critical. Draymond at 6'6" squaring up against the opposing team's center, and Harrison Barnes at 6'8" is battling a power forward. While Barnes may be viewed as a letdown during the Warriors' 2016 playoff run, the Warriors would not have made it without his unusual combination of strength and size. Barnes was able to guard taller players, which was critical for this lineup to work. It's tempting to see outside shooting as the key to success, but it was their frenzied, locked-in defense which allowed them to make a tremendous run that put the game out of reach for the ordinary NBA team in only a few minutes. After that season, the Warriors replaced Harrison Barnes with arguably the best player in the league at that moment. Someone who could do everything that Barnes did, but at a level so otherworldly that it was just unfair. The Slim Reaper himself, Kevin Durant. What happens when you add KD to a team which just won a record 73 games the previous season? You just carve through the league and win 2 back-to-back championships without breaking a sweat. That's what. This move was seen as a disruption in the competitive balance of the NBA. This lineup, also referred to as the Hamptons 5. Why the Hampton 5? Well, it basically happened when the Warriors recruited Durant. He was in the Hamptons, which is a popular seaside resort and a group of towns in Long Island where the rich and famous go to vacation. When he opened his door, what did he see but Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Andre Iguodala, and they were there in person to convince him to sign with Golden State. And convince him they did, and they went on to light the NBA on fire. But, as all good things must come to an end, so did this dominant dynasty. After making 5 straight trips to the NBA Finals, the Golden State Warriors finally fell down. Kevin Durant ruptured his Achilles, and Klay Thompson tore his ACL during the 2019 Finals against the Toronto Raptors, causing a heartbreaking loss for the Dubs. KD left for Brooklyn, and Klay suffered another catastrophic career-threatening injury in the next offseason. During these last 2 years, the Warriors fans witnessed KD leave. Klay suffered 2 horrific injuries. Steph Curry break his hand, and their team to be the worst in the league. But these dark times were about to end as well. The core trio of Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green came into the 2021-22 season with a clear goal in their mind, and boy did they perform miracles. With the help of an incredible supporting cast of Andrew Wiggins, Otto Porter Jr., Jordan Poole, and others, they dominated through the playoffs and beat one of the best defense in the modern era in the NBA Finals. But something extra scary happened during this playoff run. We got a new version of the death lineup. Some call it the PTSD lineup. Poole, Thompson, Steph, and Draymond Green. The Golden State Warriors' newfound death lineup of Stephen Curry, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green torched the Denver Nuggets when it was initially introduced. How could it not? The offensive options were limitless, especially against a club devoid of quality perimeter defenders and led by a big man anchor who, while a largely improved defender, was not ready to serve as a defensive linchpin. The possibilities for their involvement are limitless. One shooter can screen for the other, possibly even ghost the screen to penalize aggressive coverages, while the third positions himself on the weak side to essentially eliminate the need for a defender. Dribble penetration and getting 2 feet in the paint to draw opponents inside offers up kick-out possibilities, which can generate open shots or further damage defenses by pushing them to scramble against swing cycles. The Warriors' fondness for movement often allowed their marksmen to be in positions where they can thrive the most. Even one of them in any given 5-man lineup can draw out a plethora of defensive breakdowns from opponents. When you put 3 of them in one lineup, it becomes a comically unfair and untenable position for the defense. Concerns about defense arose, but the thinking process behind having a historically great defender in Green and a solid wing defender in Wiggins was that they could shore up some of the potential gaps. Thompson isn't the same lateral mover he was before his injuries, but he can still hold his own against quick and shifty guards while also switching up versus front court players. Curry's natural limitations remain. He is a small guard with no exceptional physical or athletic abilities. However, his motor skills and resourcefulness compensate for such deficits. An increase in muscle mass and functional strength has also helped him weather the hits and bruises, as well as strengthening one aspect of his defense, screen navigation. A near perfect blend of offense and defense translated into godly numbers. After the initial 2 games against the Nuggets, the new death lineup sported a 204.3 offensive rating and a 75 defensive rating, while outscoring the Nuggets by 129.3 points per 100 possessions, all in 11 total minutes on the floor. Years have passed, and teams have changed, but this team hasn't stopped winning. A lot of credit has to be given to the coaching, the front office, and the owners. Klay and Dre have played their roles beautifully, and Iggy has always been pivotal. But it all starts and ends with one man, Wardell Stephen Curry II. There is no doubt that Steph Curry is one of the top 10 greatest players of all time. And calling him the greatest shooter ever is actually an understatement now. He has completely changed the game and definitely for the good. This 6'3" guard's godlike abilities and his selflessness also gave birth to perhaps the most lethal lineups in NBA history. The pieces kept changing, but the effectiveness has somehow stayed the same. We hope you enjoyed the video topic today. Subscribe to our channel, Full Court, for more interesting basketball topics.